time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace and former Ottawa Senator Jason York.
Yorkie, good afternoon, everybody. Brent Wallace, Jason York. Welcome you to Coming In Hot. We are going to talk a little bit of soft tampering.
Not hard tampering, soft tampering. I like it. You know what? Picking up for all, I like it. Just Andlauer getting in there, saying, "Hey, leave my team alone. No more soft tampering." I get it. I like it. Sticking up for Ottawa's the little guy, right? You got the big market Toronto. You got the big market Rangers.
Okay,
I understand it. I like it.
Let's get to it then. So first of all, this show probably presented to you by Bet365. Download the app today. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Yorkie, let's break it all down. So Larry Brooks from the Washington Post, who by the way is a Hall of Fame writer. So I don't believe for a second he's made up this story whatsoever, but he basically wrote that the Rangers were interested. Well, today, if you haven't already heard the Spit and Chicklets, he says this is what's happened. Quote, I had been told earlier last week that Brady Tkachuk was a target of the Rangers, and then I was told a second time that Brady Tkachuk, and then I was told by a third party the Rangers and then I was told by a third party the Rangers' priority was to try and find a way to get Brady Tkachuk. I had heard some talk about that there was some sensitivity in Ottawa about whether they were going to be able to keep him. And I also wrote that Jacob Trouba wasn't the end, and the Rangers want to do more, and they were targeting Brady Tkachuk. Now, here's the issue. I'm not so sure that the Rangers actually brought this up, or if it's Chris Drury that actually brought it up. I believe somebody told Larry Brooks that the Rangers may be interested in Brady Tkachuk. But that could have been anybody. And so I don't think it's three sources. He was told earlier last week, and then he was told a second time. That could be the same person. And then there was a third party, which means it could be outside the organization. So I understand everybody's mad at the Rangers. I'm not so sure that Chris Drury floated this story.
Well, he obviously told somebody, and then somebody told Larry Brooks, like, "Hey, I'm not." Who doesn't? Of course, the Rangers.
No. Hold on, Yorkie. I don't know that Chris Drury actually said this, and I'm not trying to defend them. There is something somewhere. Somebody said something. I'm just not sure it was Chris Drury. There was nobody from the Rangers ever contacted. Steve Staios and the Ottawa Senators. No one.
Well, so just to start off, of course the Rangers would like Brady Tkachuk. They want to change their culture. They're one of the softest teams in the NHL right now. Their fan base is up in arms. They want change. They just got rid of Trouba, which, they don't want to be soft, but they're getting rid of a guy that is one of the biggest hitters in the league. But it's more with their forward group. They don't like their mix of forwards. If you watched them in the playoffs last year, how they lost, it's like they got their heads and just jammed in the sand, and it was like they were bullied. And they want to change that. So, of course, they would want Brady Tkachuk. There would be a lineup of teams that would want Brady Tkachuk. How it got out, who knows? But obviously somebody that's close to the team told Larry Brooks, and it got out there. I'm not surprised. And I like this whole thing. I just think it's good that Andlauer's like, you know what? We're not even entertaining Sens doing anything with our cap. We've never spoke to the Rangers. And I believe all that. I believe all that. I just think it's hockey. It's what happens. People talk. There's conversations going on, and reporters are always digging. They're trying to find stuff, and it is what it is. But I'm not surprised. Of course, the Rangers want him. Why wouldn't they?
Well, they're trying to trade apparently everybody now. Adam Fox is on the trade block.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah,
because of Zibanejad, Chris Kreider. They're trying to change everything there. I get it. I'm just at this day and age, I think this kind of stuff is going to happen all the time, and I'm not sure how. You fix it, because Larry Brooks isn't going to tell the league who told him.
Why are they going to fix it? We have Trade Central shows and people during intermissions talking about trade. This is how the league works.
About this show, or all the talk about all Brady Tkachuk, and that's this is good for the National Hockey League.
Yeah, and it's good to get the owner in there getting involved. Let's talk. It's the old motto, right? Any news is good news. If they're talking about you, you're out there. It's good.
But the Sens are very, very unhappy.
Well, because they don't want it to be known that because it's false. Obviously, they don't, but they don't want anybody to have any inclination that they're even considering trading, and which they're not. And it's just that you just put that fire out, and it comes right from the top, which I love the message right from the owner. We have no desire. This is false. There's been no conversations, which is it's all true. And I get it. I get it from all parts. I get that what you said, that this is good for the league to have rumors going on like this, people talking about the game, especially in New York City, and then the Ottawa Center involved. But hey, like I said, there is a lineup of teams that would want this guy. Like, who wouldn't? He's a unicorn. Like, I don't know anybody in the league that does what he does, what Brady Tkachuk does at the level. Or like, you look at, what was the stat again we were talking about last couple of weeks as far as hits and points and PIMs? Like, he's almost at the top of 10 different categories, shots, you name it. Like, and this is regular season, which is everybody says this, like, there's regular season Brady. I can't wait to see playoff Brady. I just hope it happens sooner than later. Four Nations might be a good indication of what. Well, that's the closest we're going to see at the moment, unless the Sens can start to turn things around and get above 500. Speaking of Brady Tkachuk, here he is today addressing the rumors.
Get your reaction to all the noise that surrounds you and I guess the Rangers at the moment.
I mean, it's just, it's stuff that I can't really control. So I'm going to be honest, it doesn't really bother me because it's coming from a place where obviously it's not true. But I think it just speaks to the leadership that we have in this organization with Mr. Andlauer and Steve and how they have not just my back and this time, but the players backs through their time here and through the future, and it really just says a lot about to the city about who's running this team and how amazing of people and supportive they are.
It's not the first time that it's happened to you. How can you describe if it's a level of frustration you feel and being in those rumors over and over and having to say that you want to Stopey?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I can't control it. I mean, of course, it's happened multiple times now, and obviously it's just not true. So, I mean, it would just be a waste of energy to get frustrated with something that I can't control. So, like I said, it's just the support and I guess the protection that Mr. Andlauer, Steve provide. It's definitely makes you feel good, and I think it makes the group feel good as well.
There's more. You can check it out on Twitter or on YouTube. But that's the gist of it. And it's true that the Rangers would love to have him, but he's exactly right. But it's false that the Senators have any desire to trade this guy. So and I like you said, imagine that. It would be great if this team could somehow get on a run. And all of a sudden you roll off 5 in a row. He said it was the owner that came up and he had his guys back. But this is good, and Brady makes some good points. And there's always going to be rumors, always going to be talk, especially with you're in a Canadian market and New York. Like, New York wants to make changes. Like, that's true. That is 100% true. But he ain't going to New York. Well, the only other thing of the people who are on social media to say Brady's as good as gone if they don't make the playoffs this year, this and that, I believe this. None of you that I know of have spoken to Brady. And as someone that's been around him frequently and often, and I've spoke to him away from cameras, I don't believe for a second that that's true. I don't believe for a second he will ask to be traded anytime soon. Will he? Maybe in 2-3 years? Maybe. I'm not even sure of that. I'm just saying there's no discussion with him right now of wanting to play somewhere else.
So you want to talk about culture, Senators, the way things are now compared to, let's just rewind 3 years ago. You've been down at the rink. What's the difference between the way they're doing things now? Well, you're allowed back in the building. There's number one. To the way things were being done before. Little difference or massive difference?
There's a huge difference. Everything is different. Like, you feel it being very different. You also feel it in the room. So years past, I can't talk about the last 2 years, but I can tell you from what I know, there would be no players in the locker room. Yorkie, when you used to get off the ice, the room would just be open. Everybody's around.
Buzzing.
Everybody's around talking, right?
Yeah.
In the last 7 years, there'd be no one in the room, and you'd have to request 3 different guys that you want to talk to. They'd come out one at a time. Everybody would talk to the same person. They'd go in the back. You never got very much one-on-one time. That's all different now. Like,
Yeah.
I sat and talked to Josh Norris for 10 minutes probably after Brady was done. Shane Pinto was there. We had a chat with him, like just having conversations. It's a different feeling around that room. It is an extremely different organization.
So I was reading some quotes. I think it was this morning. It was a piece, and I actually think it was Michael Andlauer that was talking about it. And I actually, it really resonated when I read this, and I totally believe this. Losing is a habit, just like winning is.
Yeah, I agree.
They're both habits, and when you get used to losing, it's not that it gets easier. It's just almost becomes an acceptance of it. And you're like, here we go again. And I'm watching the way this team plays this year. Yeah, they're not where they should be right now as far as the standings go. But if I look how this team has played as a whole, how they're playing defensively, how they're playing with the energy levels and the performances, like I'll just talk about their best player right now. Like the way I'm watching Tim Stützle play a 200-foot game now and produce like that. That is a huge sign that things are changing here when your best player is playing like that and playing properly. So I do see progress. I see this team playing a lot better, like I said, defensively. And that's the thing. Like people have to remember this group came in last year. Michael Andlauer, Steve Stajos, Dave Poulin. They didn't have anything. They didn't have time to do anything. Like Pierre Dorian was still here. It was just DJ Smith. We all know what happened. So let's just toss last year away. This is really the first year from day one. You're kind of starting from ground zero, and you made some moves over the summer. You brought in guys that are your guys. You brought we all Allmark, Jensen, some of the forwards, and some haven't played up to expectations or what people thought, but the one thing for me that has changed is how this team goes about their business on and off the ice. You talked about the energy around the rink. You talked about the mood of the players. Because when you're a losing franchise and you're a team that's just accustomed to things not going well, you want to get to the rink and get out of there as soon as possible. That's why you don't see guys milling around and hanging out. I do believe things are going to change. It's unfortunately, things don't happen overnight. But I do see signs and I do see things changing. It takes a little more time. And I know people aren't patient because, whatever was it? How many years is it? 7 years? They haven't made the playoffs. Yeah. So you get 7 years, but realistically for this group that's been running things, it's really for me only started in this off season. Well, and I'm seeing progress.
Part of that too is, everybody talks about, we've been in 7 years of a rebuild. The problem is it's now a different organization that wants different players. So I'm not going to say it's another rebuild starting now, but they're going to want their own people and their own way to play. And so that's going to change and have an impact on what happens.
So the rebuild,
you can't just go, hey, we've been in this rebuild and now we're supposed to be better. We have all new different minds looking at this in different eyes.
Well, the problem is you can say it's been 7 years of rebuilding, but the rebuilding wasn't being orchestrated the right way. So you're building a house, but you didn't use concrete for your base.
No footings.
You had no footings. You had no footings in your base, and you tried to skip a little bit here and skip a little there. And we all know the different reasons. They were they were so understaffed in every single department of this team. And I'm sorry, but I'll say it again. Everything comes from the top. And the way this team was run in the past, it was doomed. So you were rebuilding for 7 years, but you weren't rebuilding properly.
You were treading water.
No, it was like they didn't have.
At one point, Yorkie, they were just trying to make sure they were at the cap floor.
It was ridiculous. So I just think it's kind of lazy to say, well, we've been rebuilding for 7 years. No, you've just been bad for 7 years. You haven't been rebuilding. No, you've been bad for 7 years. Yeah, but the reason they've been bad is because they've made not the right decisions. And you know what? Not everything. Like they made some good decisions, like getting Stützle signed. Some of those contracts are going to turn out to be pretty good. And they made some mistakes. Like it wasn't all terrible, but just for me, it wasn't from the starting at the top with your owner, the way things were run, the energy around the team, it wasn't run properly. And I just think it's going to take a little more time than people are thought. It just doesn't happen overnight. And I still think they're going to be in the mix when it's all said and done this year. And that's pretty well where I thought they were going to be, Wally, fighting for a playoff spot, for one of those 2 wild card spots. But
I'm just going to bring it back quickly and before we move on to Brady. People in the organization extremely well. And I see it in a different light being in the room kind of. Yeah. Do you think Brady wants to go anywhere?
No. Why would you want to go somewhere else? These are your guys. You're the face of the franchise. You're the guy. This is your team. Like you're in this. Like you want to make it better. That's on you too. And to me, like people will point to his brother Matthew. The Calgary Flames weren't built around Matthew Tkachuk, and Matthew Tkachuk is an unbelievable player. And they made a deal, and it worked out great for Matthew. I just think this team has let it be known that this is Brady's team. So, part of the reason, if you want to win, you got to help change things too. You got to be part of the solution. And I see him as a guy that wants to be part of the solution. And he's a proud guy. Like, so, that's my personal thought on it. Like, and I think, like he's involved in all decisions when they talk about things, they do moves like this is, I think it's a pretty honest and open relationship with the captain. So, like I said, he realizes how things were run here before too. Like they weren't run the right way. And you got people here that are willing to spend to the cap. They want to get better. They want to do like Michael Andlauer wants to do whatever is possible to try and win. Like when you have an owner that will do that, Wally, he doesn't care. What do you need? That's basically, what do you guys need to help you win? Like that's a pretty good thing to be a part of, if you ask me.
Agreed. So hopefully, at least for a couple of weeks, we are out of the Brady Tkachuk rumor mill and back to discussing hockey.
Yeah.
But let's make up some others for other teams.
You've been you got something to make up?
No, but we'll start. We'll just, I don't know. Matthew Tkachuk wants to come join his brother. Well, let's start there.
Hey, I got to ask you, you've been pretty busy lately, eh? You've been traveling a little bit?
Traveling?
Well, there was somebody says, and I think it was Chick Run on X, that he was watching the Winnipeg Jets game, and he swears to God that he saw you in the stands in Winnipeg.
Big Winnipeg Jets guy. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we have the video here, Jake. Like, look at this guy. But that's, you got to admit, that is a dead ringer for you. The only difference is he's smiling.
Oh, I smile occasionally. Who wouldn't be happy sitting next to Better Call Saul?
That's on the chat. I was wondering who that was with the stash. I didn't know that was Better Call. I think that guy though. I think he's his wife's manager or something like that. But anyhow, the word
he does look pretty good though. Like,
well, he's not salty Wally. We're calling him sweet. He's sweet Wally. Nice smile.
He doesn't age like I am. He's got very good complexion. What are we doing?
There you go. There's salty Wally on the left, sweet Wally on the right. Like, I don't know. They look pretty similar to me. One guy's smiling, one guy's salty.
I can't see the difference. Can you see the difference?
No, I can't see the difference. Can you see the difference?
People can't see the difference.
I can't see the difference. Is there a difference?
Salty Wally and sweet Wally. We have to get a poll going. I can't see the difference, Wally. Like, put that up one more time, Jake. Put that up one more time. Salty Wally versus Sweet Wally. Sweet Wally. You know what? Sweet Wally is almost like a Christmas miracle. He's happy. He's like, things are looking up in his world. He's positive. He's glass half full, not glass half empty. Salty Wally's just miserable over there.
Is this the best you could find for video for me? Is this it?
I didn't find it. It was producer. It was creative arts department Eric that found that one.
I have to have a word with Eric after the show.
Remember that commercial though? I can't see the difference. Could you
Can
see the
you
difference?
Yeah, it's like a Tide or something commercial, wasn't it? Like
I
a
think it was
laundry detergent.
Bounce. I think it was Bounce laundry detergent. There is no difference.
All right, let's by the way, 10 minutes from now, David Bell, the head coach of the Belleville Senators, should be joining us as we get to chat with him. The team is rolling. They've won 4 in a row. Things are going really well in Belleville. We'll have a chat, see what's life like on the farm. This show proudly presented to you by Charm. Charm Diamond Centers is proudly Canadian-owned and operated since 1972 with more than 85 locations across the country through Charm and their sister brands. Just a reminder, it's December 10th. That means 15 days until Santa shows up. Get custom ring building delivered in less than 4 weeks with the Charm Masterpiece Program, not beatable pricing policy. Check out the large selection of Canadian lab-grown diamonds, mine diamonds, and don't pay until 2025 with their instant in-store financing on approved credit. For more information, go to charmdiamondcenters.com. Quickly, Yorkie, I want to get to Shane Pinto, but it is day number 6. We're halfway through our 12 days of giving away stuff. So today, Jake, let's do yesterday's winner. Let's go with that first. So yesterday's winner of the Cheshire Cat $100 gift card is G Logan 86. G, we'll be in touch with you, and then we'll get it all sorted out and get you that gift card. Congrats to you. So today, hit it. Hit it. All right. You get 2 tickets to the Ottawa Charge on January the 11th. They're facing Boston, plus a $50 Gabriel gift card. As always, it is Gabriel Pizza's Hot for the Holidays contest as we give away stuff the entire 3 weeks before Christmas. So just have to go on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Blue Sky. Pick one of them, pick them all. The more you enter, the more chances you have of winning. Just use hashtag Hot for the Holidays and tag, like, and follow Gabriel Pizza, who have been fantastic for us. The more you tag them, the more we will put you into the draw. If you take a picture eating Gabriel Pizza, we'll give you 1 billion entries. I think that's the number we're at. And by the we still have lots more to give away. But thank you to actually a viewer, Yanni, who donated the tickets for us to give away to the PWHL game, the Ottawa Charge. So that's January 11th. We'll tell you who the winner is to that tomorrow.
Just got a text from one of our longtime listeners to the show.
Oh, no.
Richard from Fratelli, Wally. You know Richard.
Oh,
yeah.
Richard, I don't know if I've told you this story. He picked me up one time in Dan Boyle's Ferrari in Tampa, and we went for a drive. So where I'm walking, I don't know I think it's the playoffs, Ottawa, Tampa. So that's like 2001, 2002, somewhere in there. I can't remember. That's the John Tortorella 25% rule, I think.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm walking back to the hotel, and he just drives by me. I'm like, I see this red sports. He goes, and then I look in, and he's like, Wally. And I'm like, well, he's like, let's go for a drive. I'm like, all right. So we took his Ferrari out on the Florida Interstate Highway and hammered down.
Did he pick up salty Wally or sweet Wally?
Oh, it's a convertible. The hair's not moving, but the top's down. So yeah, it was great.
What type of gel do you use in that hair of yours to make it like not move? Dippity do? What do you got? What do you go? There you go.
Dippity do. That sounds so much Andre Waugh.
Dippity do. Every NHL dressing room used to have Brut Fabergé cologne and aftershave, and your gel would be Dippity do. Dippity do. Like you think he'd be in the NHL, they'd get some good hair products, not the stuff that's going to make your hair fall out, but they get the Dippity do. Just the big purple bottle there, it's like a big Costco size.
Yep. It's that's the stuff that's full of alcohol, and then it just breaks apart in your hair.
That's why most hockey players are balding at the back. They get the little monkey's butt going. The monkey's butt, just the back of the head's open. It's from too much dippity do. Anyhow, Richard, my good friend Richard, he said the giving's going to continue. He's throwing in $100 gift certificate to add to our Christmas giveaways, Wally.
Really?
Fratelli's in.
Well, then that's awesome. We were going to take care of that. By the way, they have Nutella pizza as a dessert menu option.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Richard. We will we'll do that tomorrow.
There we go. Done.
People have been very good. Lots of great, generous donations. So again, thank you to Fratellis. All right, let's move on. Before we do that, no, let's just get right to it.
Gotta talk some Pinto, right? You want to talk some Pinto?
No, we have our guest waiting for us. No more yapping about nothing.
Nice.
He's
Okay.
So let's David Bell, the head coach of the Belleville Senators. Just call him the David Belleville.
There you go.
Hi,
wow.
how are you?
Oh,
How are you, man?
Fantastic.
Beller, how are you doing? You got the boys going, eh?
Is that an Elmira Sugar Kings hat, or what's this? What do we got?
Oh, yeah, that's a. So my boy Matthew plays at the at Elmira College.
Well, Elmira College. Okay.
Yeah. With Aaron Sauls, the coach there. They got a good program there. I was just up there last weekend. They play, the big dome rinks up there.
Yeah.
They play in there. Great atmosphere.
Oh, is that the ones where you got to go through the double doors to get out to the ice?
That's the one. The one.
We played there once, and the other team they warm up where the doors you got to come out, so you can only go out 4 or 5 at a time. So of course they're doing horseshoe shooting and just pelting you, and you can't do anything because only 5 guys come out at a time, and you're scooped. You just got to take the bullets and get to the other end.
So good. Like, there's old barns are the best for some of that stuff.
Yep.
Or not, depending on how you look at it. Belsy, your team is rolling 4 in a row. You only have 4 regulation wins as you get close to
losses.
Sorry, losses. I think 11-4 and 4. As you get set to play 20th game of the year tomorrow against Syracuse. What has been the secret to your success?
I would say different guys stepping out at different moments. I don't think we've got a guy in the top 20 of scoring, so it's shared. Everybody's in a different night. Pretty good goaltending. As of late, it's been our willingness to not quit and come back. Obviously, our starts have been awful. So we went 2-0, 3-0, 3-0 in our last 3, but we're able to come back. So that was huge. So just no quit attitude, I think.
Yeah, I saw that Beller dropping. That's pretty rare in that league when you get down 3-0 that you're able to come back and win. Like, what do you account for that with? How are you guys able to do that?
I got to say probably the leadership group, to be honest. I mean, you guys know, and I didn't blow a gasket or I didn't snap or anything. I just put it to them, kind of playing the long game and making sure they figure out the room and what they need to do. And again, different guys on all 3 of those different nights kind of stepped up and said something or did something on the bench and acted on what they said and kind of got the boys going. And then they just rolled and they played for each other, and it was kind of neat to watch. Just sit back and watch.
And you talked about not having a big name, I guess, player in your top 20 in the league scoring. Angus Crookshanks, your leading goal scorer with 10 goals right now. What's he been doing right, if you will?
He just does what he does. He's the angry little elf. He's about as competitive as you can get. Just miserable to play against. He never quits. He's just around the puck. He's in the dirty areas. He's underhands. And he loves to score. Just loves to score. And he's done that for 3 years. He's led our team in scoring the last 3 years in goals anyways. And he just, even in practice, could be a warm-up drill. He just loves to score.
Does he get, I guess all players want to play in the National Hockey League. So I'm going to preface this by saying, does he get frustrated because he's been so successful in the A of not getting more of an opportunity?
Let me
talk to him about that.
Daily. Yes, he's an awesome story. Like how his injury, like guys rehab for a month or 2 months or 3 months. He rehabbed for a full year and skated by himself, trained by himself, and not a lot of guys could do that. And he is just so motivated to get to the NHL. He's rounded out his game. Like I have him out there now with the goalie out, or he PKs now. He'll do anything. He'll chew his own arm off to get to the NHL. I think he's desperate to get there.
I remember watching him last year, Beller. I was impressed with him. Like he's not afraid to get in. Like a lot of smaller guys play on the outside, and they because it's safe, right? He was a guy to me that didn't mind getting to the middle.
He is fearless. fearless. Like he actually relishes guys leaning on him and hitting him and slashing him. Like that's what gets him going in a game. And like I know if you polled our team who wants to go against him in practice in a one-on-one or a small area game, nobody wants to go against Angus. Now he cheats, but he's the most competitive, probably the most competitive guy I've coached in all my years.
Yeah, it's funny. I was laughing. You said Angry Elf. I was actually watching that movie last night with the Angry Elf from. That's when it's Will Ferrell. You're an angry little elf.
Yeah, that's what I call him, the angry little elf, because people always chirp him about being a little on the smaller side. So, just a complex he's got. So I've went with the angry little elf for the last couple of years.
I love it. Hey, Wally loves Stephen Halliday. It's his favorite player. How's he been for you?
Stephen. He's been good. He's been good. Now look at him there. Like and we were just talking about him the other day. He is so skilled, so talented, by far the most talented, skilled guy on our team. But he's actually learning to play, and he's never going to go out and run a guy over or even body check a guy for that matter. But he's starting to play, like lean on guys. And when guys lean on him, he's having the ability to protect the puck better. And I think that's huge for him because he's starting to learn how to play against men. And as you know, Yorkie, when he gets the NHL, like everybody leans on everybody. And when he first came in, it was a lot of toe drags and a lot of exposing the puck and getting pushed off the puck. And he's growing. He's learning how to do better with those areas. And he's fine. He's on a great path right now. He's on a really good path.
One player that's made an impact this year who you've had in the past, Adam Gaudette in Ottawa. Are you surprised at all the goal scoring success he's had at the NHL level?
You know what? I'm not surprised at all. And I use him as an example all the time with our guys because not to take anything away from him because he's super skilled and super talented. But if you look at his goals, he hasn't had one where he's toe dragged a guy or went end to end with it. He goes to the net with his stick on the ice. So I shouldn't say this loosely. Not everybody can do that, but anybody can do that. Anybody can go to the net with their stick on the ice. And the guy's been rewarded, and he's got 14 goals now or 13 goals in the NHL. That's awesome. And why can't anybody on my roster or go to the net with their stick on the ice? And I think it's a great lesson for our guys to watch the success he's having.
I was going over his goals. It's funny you said that, Beller, because I went back and watched a bunch of his goals. Middle lane drive, redirect, blue paint, stick on the ice, heavy stick, scores. Yeah, like it's a mindset. Like it's got to drive you crazy to get that through guys' minds just to play simple and just.
Yeah, we just talked about it the other night in Winnipeg. We were down again, and if you don't have your A game, what's your B game? So you can't look me in the eye and tell me, hey, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna score. You can't promise that, but you can promise me. You can say, hey, I'm gonna go to the net with my stick on the ice, and you could do it. And we'll see what the results are going to be. And again, I probably referenced him again in that speech or spiel I had, and it's awesome. It's now he's super skilled, and you can watch him one time a puck from the half wall and curl and drag in this league, but he gets it. He's going to the net with a stick on the ice, and it's awesome to watch.
Yeah, some guys just don't like. He's 28 years old. Unfortunately, some guys it just takes a while to figure out. Right? It's like I'm either going to stay down here and toe drag and have success, otherwise I'm going to figure out a way to get there and play the right way.
Yeah, he's a great lesson. He's a great tool for me. That's for sure. I reference him quite a bit down here.
Earlier this year, you seemed to have all kinds of goaltending issues. One they called up a goalie, and then you had Marilainen get hurt, if I'm not mistaken. How did you manage to weather that storm?
Well, it's good practice. I've practiced it for 2 years. Last year or 2 years ago, we had 13 goalies. Last year, I think we had 9. So we're on track to maybe be under that on the over/under, but just good practice. That's all it is. It's just practice.
Well, fair enough.
Is there something in the water at Belleville? Like, is this normal, Beller, to go through this many goalies in the 8?
Absolutely not. No way. I don't know what it is. It's I don't know. I have questioned the practices. I've questioned the goalies. I've questioned the goalie coaches. I've questioned the trade. I don't know what it is, but it's crazy. But good news, they're both really, really well. Obviously, Levy's back and playing, and Sogi is really, really, really close to playing.
couple of guys who are now up in the NHL, but you've had an impact, and I want to get your assessment. And they're the D guys: Tyler Clevin, JBD, even Nick Mattenpalo has been recalled. I know it's tough on your blue line to be losing him. What have you seen from perhaps Tyler Clevin that you've liked this year?
Clev's been a little bit more aggressive, and that's something I always talked about with him when he was down here. Is he's a big, mean guy that in college you'd watch his games and stuff, and he'd have one or two big hits, and that was all you'd see on YouTube and in the highlights. But as you know, Yorkie, like, he needed to be meaner in front of the net and meaner in low battles and early box outs, and just be a hard guy to play against. Those big hits are awesome, but you have to be hard to play against every shift, and I think he's getting better and better at that. Like, his puck skills have always been there. He ran the power play at North Dakota, but I just think he's learning how to be hard to play against and understanding how big and strong he can be, I think is what his biggest growth has been this year in the games I've watched anyways.
JBD
is he's just a guy that he's a guy that's super good at his evaluation of his game and knows his limitations. I think when he came here, he kind of didn't have an identity. He wasn't sure what he was. And I remember the game. We were playing in Utica, and they had that Holt kid that's got a great one-timer, and he got a standing ovation in Utica's building. He blocked 5 one-timers on a penalty kill. And like, their building gave him a standing ovation. It was like that soccer meme of that guy just getting hammered and hammered and hammered. And kind of that was his aha moment that, hey, I'm a penalty killer and I'm a shot blocker and I'm just going to move the puck and be good in my own end. And he kind of took off from there. And, you know, he's still growing, but that's kind of what he figured out what his niche was going to be if he was ever going to play in the National Hockey League. And that's kind of what I think he's going to be.
I really liked in the playoffs last year, if I'm not mistaken, you had Mattenpalo and Clevin as D partners. And there's a chance, I don't know if they're going to play together tomorrow. I know they ran some drills today together, but big and strong. Like, is that a really good third pair, do you think?
Mattenpalo is a man. Like, you get guys here and, this guy's but when you see NHL defensemen, like, the big ass on them, and they just, when you bump into them on the ice, they're heavy. And that's what Mattenpalo is. Like, he's just a heavy body. He shoots a heavy puck. He passes the puck hard. Like, you could run into him and he's not even looking at you by accident. He's just heavy. So I'm excited if he gets a chance to go out there and play another year in North America. Like, last year's his first year playing in North America, and just figuring out the smaller rink and figuring out the style and stuff. And a great teammate, great guy, really good personality when you get to know him. Like, him and I banter pretty good about, always him being heavy. And I think he likes the banter and he takes the challenge, and he goes out there and he's hard to play against.
Well, it's hard to find those guys there, Beller, because if there's a good one in the league, they're not trading them, because everyone wants big and long and mean right now. We had Luke Richardson. He said the exact same thing. Luke was talking about what every team's looking for. So, maybe they got a diamond in the rough here.
He is a well-kept secret. I know you guys just talked about the soft tampering stuff, but every time I'm in a media room or wandering around in an arena, I always get asked about Mattenpalo by other scouts, and just I think he's a great player. So I think he's going to play at some point.
Is he? By the way, is he ready? I know that's not your call, but do you think he's almost ready to play in the National Hockey League?
That is not even close to my call. I would love to see my whole team go play in the NHL.
Fair enough.
But no, he's on the cusp for sure.
Yeah. Okay. I don't mean to take you down any road that gets you in trouble. Quickly, you're in the North Division, which you are 11-4-4, but yet you're like in 5th place. Is it tough to get any ground in that division?
Well, it's the overtime division. Every single game goes to overtime. Not only us, every team does. Somebody told me a stat the other day. We have the second least amount of regulation losses as in 4 in the entire 32-team league, and we're in 5th place in our division. So
it's crazy.
There you go. So it's tough, but we got the games in hand. We got the 4 games in hand. So you kind of got to take that into play, but it's a tough game every night. Every night's a tough game. There's no easy ones in our division, and that's good. I think it's good for the guys. It's good, not good for me and my hairline and my liver, but it's good for everybody else.
Hey, there's one more guy. There's another guy that's the liver. There's one more guy I wanted to ask you about, and you mentioned him last year, and we had him on. Ostapchuk. The more I watch this kid, the more I'm impressed. Like, he's always low, below the puck in his own zone, supporting his D. He just seems to know how to play on the right side of the puck, and he's sneaky tough too. I don't know if you saw his fight a little while ago.
It's not sneaky, boys. And
he's tough.
I'll tell you a couple stories about this guy. Last year, he's a rookie, and I do a thing, and a lot of coaches do it as you're marking your games and stuff. You just type beside it keeper clip for systematic play, keeper clips for when you're going to do training camp next year. You want to show players. And when I started putting my presentation together for this year's training camp this summer, and I dropped down it's just Zach Ostapchuk doing the right thing. Zach Ostapchuk doing the right thing in the D zone. Zach Ostapchuk doing the right thing on the forecheck. He's all over them. And then and he was only a first-year guy last year. And then the sneaky tough stuff. Like, I remember last year we had a game against Laval, and we had a pretty good rivalry going with them, and they'd said some things. They did some things in their rink. We played them back-to-back. So I started Omama and Saunier and Hetherington and all these guys that have fought, and I needed a centerman. I'm like, I guess I'll put Ostapchuk out there. And he's the guy, when the puck dropped, hunted down Logan Mayu, who's pretty good, and just absolutely mopped the floor with him. And I was like, okay, then he's good. He's good. So no, he's a hockey player. I am not a scout. I'm not a manager. I don't tend to forecast, but to me, he stinks Adam Lowry all over the place, and maybe even better in a couple of years.
Well, remember we talked about that name about 2 months ago, Adam Lowry. It's so hard to find those guys, big, smart centermen that just play the right way and are tough. Like, it's very tough to find.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good one.
Question I have for you, and that's, the AHL is a developmental league. So I'm curious, what is your mandate as coach? You want to build a winning culture, obviously, but is it more important for you to develop guys to get them to the NHL? Like, what's a successful year for you?
That's the $1 million question, Wally. Geez, I have a mandate that certain guys have to play, and they have to play in certain situations. But saying that, we also believe that part of developing is learning how to win. And if you're not producing or you're not doing the right thing, there's consequences to it. But so that is a tricky little balance. But a successful year for me is getting as many guys to the NHL as I want. That's why they walk through the door in Belleville, is to ask me and all the coaching staff and the strength staff, everybody, what do I need to do to get to the NHL? That's their focus. Do they want to win a Calder Cup? No, they don't. They want to get to the NHL. So I have to try to walk that line of, yes, this is what you need to do to get to the NHL, and a byproduct of them doing the right thing, I hope, is we win more games than we don't, and then get in the playoffs and have a run, because there's such a huge track record of guys and teams that do well in the playoffs and win Calder Cups that translates to them being NHL players or having success in the NHL. So it's a tricky balance, but I'm pretty honest with them, and I think that's the big message, is playing the right way, how you need to play to get to the NHL. A byproduct of that is us winning more games than we lose.
I remember Beller. Sorry, Wally. I want to call their cup, and it's the reason I went to the NHL. Everybody wants winners. Everybody wants winners.
First thing you do in the summer, you're looking at guys, and there's a new guy, and management sends you a video or a name, and first thing I do is I hockey DB him, and I look at his playoffs in the minors, and just that's just what you do, and that's something huge on people's resumes, and I think learning how to win too, and hating to lose, and I certainly do, and I think that's part of the culture down here, is just absolutely despising and hating to lose. Hate to lose more than you like to win is kind of the way we win a game, and it's great. I lose a game and I lose my mind, so that's just the way it is.
I want to ask you about one player. Tyler Boucher, we all know, is taking some heat, but I'm curious of what you may have said to him when he got his first goal, and how much was it weighing on him? He's just a kid I've always felt for, because I think he's been put in an awkward position, and he never asked for any of that. So
no, he never did, and he actually scored last year when he was playing. But you know what? We've had a lot of talks with Bouch, and he's creeping up on, knock on wood here, closest to the most games he's played in the season. I think 21's his high in the last 4 years. So When we sat down with Tyler at the start of the year, and again, it's media that put all this pressure on him to score goals. We have a plan and the metrics that we're kind of looking at with him, and none of them are goals. It's this is the type of player we think you are. This is what we want you to do. So after a game, when you look at Tyler Boucher's game, did he do this, this, and this? And none of it is did he score? So that's kind of, and we tell him that, but again, it's just human nature. He reads things, he sees things. And for us, it was great that he got a goal. He got a goal exactly how he needed to be big and strong in front of the net and bang a rebound in. But for us, it's just, there's a process that we believe he needs to follow, and he's right in the pocket where he needs to be.
Good stuff. Quick question from James Murray in our chat, who said, when you're naming a captain in the AHL, do you take into account whether it's going to be a regular player in your lineup throughout the year?
Yes, 100%. We did. Part of the process for him was, for us, for Pilon, he was a regular, never missed games last year unless it was because we had veteran problems. So that's a reliable thing, the consistency of thing. And then he actually signed a 2-year contract. So the continuity of him being here for 2 years and knowing how the organization runs, that was a big factor for sure.
Perfect. Good. Thank you, David. I know things been busy. Had an open practice today. You're getting ready for Syracuse tomorrow. I appreciate your time, sir.
Awesome. Thanks, awesome. And just, I tuned in to watch you guys with Donald. When is he on again?
Always good, eh?
Always awesome. I played with Donovan Jr. and he's the best, one of the best storytellers ever. When he remembers the whole story.
He gets going, eh? The one in the bush with the guns with Spezza and Kelly and the boys. That was the best story.
I've heard that one multiple times. That was the PG one. It was good. It was good.
Yes, it was the PG one.
I will get him on as soon as whenever he answers my text, I will have him back on.
Well, the reception out there at the farm, you never can get a hold of him.
It's not good.
That's
not good.
So true. And he's chucking hay bales. Thanks, Belzy. Appreciate it.
All
Good
right,
luck
man.
the rest of the
Thank you
season.
very
We'll check
much.
in soon.
Cheers.
Appreciate it. All right. Thanks.
Oh, I love that guy. You know what?
Yeah.
Like, there's a guy you want to play for, just a straight shooter, no bullshit. If you want to make the pros, this is what you got to do. I played for a very similar guy in my first year pro. His name was Barry Melrose. I don't know about coaching styles, but I'm just talking personality, where it's just on the table. This is what you need to do. It's face to face. You talk to guys, and guys appreciate that because you know where you stand. It's an honest approach that I love as a player, and I've coached too, so I've been on both sides of it, albeit not at the pro level, at the junior level. It's especially with today's player, these guys need to know, and they got to know right away too, and you got to talk to them. But I love how he communicates. I think it's fantastic.
Well, he's for the players. There's two types of coaches in minor pro, right? The guy that wants to get to the NHL and is worried about wins and losses. Yeah. And then there's the guys that want to develop, and he's always
here's the thing. There's some weasels in coaching where they pretend they care about the player, but the players sniff these guys out, and you don't want to play for these guys because they'd stab you in the back in a heartbeat. No. But then there's the good guys that you just know, and that's why you come back from games when you're down 3-0, because you play hard. You play hard for yourself, your teammates, but you also play hard for your coach because you respect him because he knows he's got your back.
Absolutely. All right. Let's get to Shane Pinto. I need you to take care of some business.
Take care of some business with BEI that is helping to shape the Ottawa Valley with equipment rentals, aggregate and topsoil supplies, as well as custom crushing and screening. So when you're planning your next project, please consider BEI for all your aggregate supply needs. And you can get them on the web at bonasherexcavating.com or at 613-432-1120. And please remember to slow down in those construction zones.
And of course, our show is proudly presented to you by Bet365. Open an account today with Bet365. Bet on a huge range of markets. So whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code NATION. Must be 19 years of age or older. Please play responsibly. Download the app today. Did you see, by the way, the score last night, the Detroit Buffalo game, 6-5 in overtime? I hate the overtime games because everybody gets a point. You get a point and you get a point.
I know. But they made it to overtime. I didn't catch the game. Buffalo, though. You said Detroit ended up winning?
Yeah, Detroit 6-5.
Wow. Something's going to go in Buffalo soon, eh? Like it's getting...
Well, it's not. It doesn't appear that it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Are they currently the team that has the longest playoff?
Yeah, 13 years, I think it is.
Wow. Oh boy. Yeah,
Right?
and that's a passionate sports town. I
Great
told you,
fans. Great
I once
fans.
I once did a game for Sportsnet, and I had to go back and fly out to Toronto after the game. So I flicked on Sabres sports radio after the game. Oh my God. I've never heard a more venomous, violent broadcast. There's no holds barred. Like, people think when the team loses here, it gets nasty. Oh no.
So
Buffalo sports radio is awesome. Like, it was no holds barred. It was very entertaining.
So there have been times this year when I've read some tweets and then I realized it's about a different team, and I was going to bring them on and read the tweet and ask you which team they're talking about, because it sounds like they could be talking about Ottawa, it could be Detroit, it could be Buffalo, Montreal. Like, everybody gets all excited about their team, and so
it's
when you don't win, people get frustrated. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Speaking of frustrated, one Shane Pinto is frustrated. Sorry, I'm going to rephrase that. I spoke to him today. There's a couple of us around. I'm like, are you changing anything? You know what guys are like? Change a stick, change where they walked. He's like, no, I'm not getting into that mental gymnastics whatsoever. He goes, the boys asked me to go from black tape to white tape. Yeah. He goes, I'm not doing that because it would be too awkward. He goes, so I'm not changing anything. I know it's going to come. I got 51 more games to go here. Things will be fine. But he has gone now. He hasn't scored since his first shot on goal in game 1 of the season. He's now 28 shot.
Crazy.
By the way, he doesn't shoot enough.
No, but he's getting extremely unlucky with the posts and the missed opportunities. Do you know who I'm gonna get to call Pints? I got to get Bruce Gardner, ex-Ottawa Senator, who was going, this was a long time ago, and Guards was in a horrific slump. And you know the story, what he did with his sticks, right?
Yeah, toilet.
He stuck his stick in the toilet before the game, and that night, Bruce Gardner went out and scored. And then the unfortunate thing, though, Wally, is then he's had every single game, he had to stick the stick in the toilet.
Yes.
And then if guys had to use, we only had 2 stalls. If guys had to go do the old number 2, it's like, Guards, your stick's in the goddamn toilet. Get it out of here. So I think somebody actually used this. This is gross. I think somebody actually used it, and they might have put the stick back in while the toilet was still a little dirty.
Oh, you just grow up, you guys. Grow up.
Get the stick in the toilet, Shane. You'll score.
So Pinto says, what if I score with white tape? Then I got to leave the white tape on, and I hate it.
You do.
So,
you do. I love white tape.
So do I, but he's not changing. So he hasn't changed his stick. He hasn't changed anything. He'll be fine. Thank God. I'm glad he's not into the, I got to walk backwards to the rink.
I got an easy solution. You want him to score? Just put him on the wing with Stützle and he'll score.
So, right. I knew that I was trying
and I'm not saying like the lines need to change. They played extremely well last game. They lost because a lot of different reasons. Number one, the Sorokin was unbelievable. So the lines worked well. Pinto's line was actually really good in that game. Like, they played extremely well. But if you do want him to score, easy solution. There you go. You're going to play with Mr. Stützle tonight. And all of a sudden, you'll be surprised how many chances you get around the net.
So here's Yorkie's lineup, because you've been a fan of this for a while. You've said, put Pinto on the wing on one of the top 2 lines. You want to see him with Giroux and Stützle.
Well, let me rephrase this. I have no issues with how the lines are right now. They're playing well. Like, the team is playing extremely well right now. So I understand. You didn't lose that game because you lost the game because you didn't get enough goals. The other team's goaltender played extremely well, and your PK gave up 2. That's why you lost that game. But the lines as a whole, like, if you look at that fourth line the way it was before it was a Stopchuk, it was Greg, and it was Greg.
We have these are what again. This is what you want.
Yeah. Well,
Jake, do you have the other one of it? There it is. That's the lines from. So those are the current lines. They were the same today as they were in the game. They didn't.
Yeah.
Change
So like, why would you change them? You did so many good things in that game. You gave up, I think, 8 even strength shots the entire game. You limited New York to 2 shots in the third. You had all kinds of opportunities. So the lines are good. The lines are good. But flip to this other version, Jake. If you did want to get Pinto going, and because here's my thing with Shane Pinto, he to me is a key part of what you're building. To me, he's a core piece. Like he's more of a core piece that you're going to build around than Gaudette. And nothing against Gaudette. He's a great story. He's played extremely well. He's deserved everything he's gotten so far. So you reward him. That's how you get internal competition throughout your lineup, and that's healthy. Where guys and guys get rewarded. Well, not enough coaches do that, Wally. They just stick with the same. Mm-hmm. My point is, it's like for Pinto, if you want to get him going, try him for a little bit on the wing. And it also, to me, this could have a domino effect on 2 players. And the 2 players, number 1's Pinto, and number 2 is Ridley Gregg. Because to me, he's a player that's he doesn't have that swagger he had last year. Obviously, he wants to produce more. And to me, when Gregg's at his best, he's out there causing shit. And if you want him to cause shit, you put him with the number 2 shit disturber, Cousins.
Shift disturber.
You got 2 guys that are out there causing havoc, and you got a really smart winger and a Matteo that can mop up the mess if things get a little too crazy. So to me, that could be a really good third line if you wanted to try it. And then I still, like, if you want to get depth scoring, Gaudette proven he can score in a depth role. Like, you put him anywhere, he's going to score. He scored at the beginning of the season when he was playing on the 4th line. He's produced in that position. And then it kind of gets, so you get Gregg back to his natural position as center, and hopefully this gets him going. Yeah. And then I guarantee you Pinto will score with Timmy Stützle. I would score with Timmy Stützle. Stick on the ice, just like Beller says, go to the front of the net, boom, and you go. But listen, I'm giving Gaudette full credit because he's going to the dirty areas. He's going to the right places. That's why he's scoring. He's got great hand-eye coordination. Like he's doing a lot of things. But the other reason too, Wally, is I remember the chemistry between Pinto and Giroux, because people I'm hearing stuff about Claude Giroux. Pinto and Giroux, I just find those guys are on the same wavelength. Those guys think extremely well together. You go back to some of those plays in the high slot where he finds Pinto, he pops out. Mind you, those are power play plays, and I'd like to see Pinto on that second unit as well. I'd probably take Ridley Gregg off, and I'd go with Pinto, Gaudette, and Giroux.
That's the way it was today. But I think Gregg is still on that with.
You got one D. Yeah, it works.
Shabbat, yeah.
There you go. So you got Gregg, you got Giroux, you've got Pinto, you've got So that's a good mix out there. But no, that's just if my point is I wouldn't change the lines, but if you did want to tinker a little bit and get Pinto off the schneid, it's a pretty easy solution.
You need to just text Greener and tell him.
Greener's not going to take that call. Hey, listen, I like what Greener's doing right now. Like I said earlier, this team is playing as good as I've seen them play defensively, and with a plan of limiting the other team to not many opportunities. And it's happened. Like, go back to that Boston game, Wally. That was in Boston where they did not allow a shot, or it was in the third period. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. When's the last time you've seen an Ottawa Senators team do that?
When you played?
There you go. So like to my point I made earlier, there's signs that this team is, you don't see it as much in the win in the stat column of where they are in the standings, but I do think if they keep playing the way they're playing and stick to the plan, the system, and get good goaltending, because you're going to need good. You don't need super goaltending. You just need good. Get good goaltending. I think this team will make some strides.
I'm going to leave the goaltending alone.
We'll save that for tomorrow.
By the way, tomorrow we're going to. They worked on the special teams, mainly penalty kill today. We'll get to discuss that tomorrow. Quickly, this show is also presented to you by Gabriel's, which so pumped that they've joined the show. Order online the Gabriel Pizza app or at gabrielpizza.com. Don't forget, when the Sens score 4, you save more. Gabriel pizza perks. Download the Gabriel Pizza app, save 40% off any 9-inch pizza the day after the Sens score 4. So let's hope for tomorrow so I can finally have dinner. Gabriel's is the proud sponsor, of course, of our coming in hot for the holidays. Also, just a reminder, food bank donations. Get your food bank donations in, and we will enter you into a draw for 2 tickets to the World Juniors Canada versus Finland, December 26th, 7:30 p.m. Tickets are 200 level, by the way. So every $5 donation will get you into a draw. So feel free. Oh, and then send it to CIHsends@gmail.com. It would help if I gave you the email address. And finally, or not finally, but apparently there is a rival, thanks to, I don't know, producer Jake, there is a rival podcast for Salty Wally. I have no idea what
What's this?
I don't know.
Right? This the Sweet Wally show?
It's the Sweet Wally show. There's, you know what? More money's been spent on that than on our show.
You know what?
Look at that graphic.
You'd have to get like this, like an all nice guy show. Get Sweet Wally on, and then got to steal Kyle Bukowskis from 32 Thoughts. Get Sweet Wally and Kyle together. It'd be just like a nice, friendly kind of like neighborhood show. Everyone's happy. Oh shucks. Gee,
by the way, I found out another senator is an avid viewer.
Who?
By the way, he's like, you can't tell if I'm watching, can you? I'm like, no, unless you're in the chat. He's like, okay. Josh Norris.
Josh likes the show. Does he like it?
An avid watcher. Yeah.
So
because we brought up Shuby somehow. He's like, yeah, I met Shuby last year. I loved it. I liked the show. So
yeah. Well, listen, guys have a lot of downtime during the day. Like basically when you're playing in the season, you sleep, you eat, you go to the rink, you stretch, you work out. You get a little downtime. So you got to throw the pod on before your nap.
Makes me nervous.
Good. Why?
There was a day that we said something about him. Yeah, but there was a day that we weren't something. I forget what it was. Anyway, he glared at me. I'm in a scrum with like Brady or somebody next to him, and I just happened to look over, and he's like, and I'm like, is everything okay? He's like, you tell me. I was like, so this makes me uncomfortable. I don't like that they're watching.
Listen,
I was okay with Pierre watching.
Yeah. Hey, we just tell the truth on this show, and you tell the truth about Josh. He's had a great season. Like I think he's been awesome. He's been playing a 200-foot game. He's been great on draws. He's scoring timely goals. He's playing physical. Like, to me, he looks like a guy that's now confident that his shoulder is not going to break down on him, and he's playing stress-free. Like, he just looks like he's just because you can play when you're thinking about things, and you can't play when your mind is like a little nervous or worried. He just looks like God's playing free. He's playing free now. His mind is free, and he's just playing hockey, and he's playing great.
So I've waited to tell some stories because I got when he got hit by Quinn Hughes and stuff. There's some. I'm trying to get him on soon here.
We got to get him on.
His 200-foot game is arguably one of the best on the team right now. Like I think it was against Boston. There was a game where he broke up almost a sheer breakaway. And there's been happened a few times where he's gotten back defensively. I just really like the way he has played.
He's playing on the inside. Like, he's playing on the inside. Because when you play on the inside, you're going to be more effective, especially as a centerman. And you got to remember with him, and this is well documented, he hasn't played a lot of hockey in the last couple of years, 2.5 years. Like, people don't understand how hard this league is to play in, especially when you're not in the groove of reps of playing all the time. And I'm sorry, but three shoulder surgeries he's had? 3? Yeah.
And I think another one was an injury that he didn't have surgery.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken. So I'll tell you, like, I played from experience. I played 1 year in Anaheim with a really bad shoulder. I shouldn't have been playing, but I'm stupid. I kept playing. It was so bad. I thought about it all the time. When I went to hit a guy, it would hurt. So I'd actually have to turn and hit with the other shoulder. So I can't even imagine. Like, I didn't have an operation yet. When you have a surgically repaired shoulder and there's a little bit of doubt in your mind, like, it's very difficult mentally to overcome. And it takes reps, it takes time. So then, because your body's got muscle memory, and you've got to retrain your body to play the way you used to, and that takes time. So it just, he looks like he's really confident now, and
and comfortable.
Just like him and Drake Batherson are just playing, to me, so much better at both ends of the rink. And that's the thing that coaches try and sell players. It's say, hey, you take care of things defensively, things are going to open up even more for you offensively. You swing deeper, come lower, you get the puck earlier and with more time and space, and you're in a great defensive positioning. And those two, I love their chemistry together too, Wally. Those two know where each other are on the ice, especially that power play where Drake takes it and it's the backhander there. Like that's a play that only comes when you really trust and know where that other player is going to be. It's nice to watch.
And they're all really close in the room, just locker wise. And so they're always just, same with Brady. He's not as out as much because everybody always tends to try and talk to him. But Josh and Drake are always having a chat together. I know what it was with Josh, was a little annoyed. I remember when there was talk about Jacob Trouba, and maybe I threw out, maybe they flipped Josh for Jacob Trouba. I think that's what he was upset with.
Oh, you made a trade?
Well, we brought it up in the show once. I was like, well, because there's a lot of people talking about, Frank Cervelli from DFO, Daily Faceoff, our sister station, made a comment about Josh Norris being on the trade block or whatever it was.
Oh,
being available. And so that's what it was.
And you agreed?
So, no, I didn't agree. I haven't agreed. I think he's a valuable piece to this organization.
That's not what you were saying before. Maybe that was Sweet Wally saying that.
It's the holiday spirit of Wally. You just referred to myself in the third person.
Sweet Wally is like, it's almost like he's a Christmas ghost that's come back to show you what you should be like. He's smiling, happy. It's like Scrooged when you're up there and you're looking down at Sweet Wally, how he lives his life, happy and jolly.
Listen, I'm the only one. I've got Christmas decoration up. Do you? No, you. And by the way, this tree, my mom gave to me when I first moved out because I said I wasn't putting up a tree, and she's like, "Well, you need a tree," so she bought me this thing at like the dollar store in 1994-ish, and I've had it ever since. Actually,
I've got when I moved to my new house in April, I'm going to have a totally different theme as my backdrop. I also have a spot for Charlie to sit in the new pod. It's we've got a big bay window, and I've got a nice bench that's being built just for Charlie, so Charlie can hang out while we're doing the show. And it's gonna get a new backdrop is coming because I've given Tony Harris all this love. Yet to see $1 or nothing. So things are changing.
You're getting a Tony Harris. Wow, this will be something. This will be something. Now, quickly, last thing before we get out of here. Where to go? James Murray, Yorkie, basically new player of the game tradition. Hand out a pair of heater jeans.
The heater jeans story is one of the best. So many people have come up to me and talked about the heaters. We've got.
That'd be pretty good.
Game. Then you got to put the heaters on and walk around the dressing room.
Yeah. I think that would be gold. Anyway, all right. Tomorrow, 3 p.m., we'll set you up for the Anaheim game. There is some. We got video of basically the coaches listening to Yorkie because I think they have solved the PK. We'll discuss that as well. So until tomorrow,
this is like Yorkie alumni. We've got the Ducks. We've had the Predators. We've had the Red Wings. Jesus Christ.
Do you still do anything with the alumni of any other team?
The Ducks don't even know I exist. Nashville's great though, and I played there twice. I've never got anything from the Ducks, but Nashville. I heard Barry Trotz was in town. He's he's a great guy. I love Barry. That's
good, man.
Yeah, not a lot of guys. Like it's different. Like here in Ottawa, a lot of guys live here, so our alumni is great. Like we have a lot of guys who are here, very active. In some of those markets, it's a little tougher to have like a true alumni going. But
it used to be that way in Ottawa, right? Because it was a young team; they didn't have much. There was guys that never played for Ottawa were on the alumni team. But look at all the guys who have stayed. And we always talk about, well, Ottawa's this or that. Radek Bonk has stayed. Chris Phillips has stayed. Chris Neal has stayed. I know they work for the organization, but they have maintained, Alfie have stayed in this city. There are a lot of ex-players. Sean Van Allen's another one who have stayed in Ottawa
Todd
well
White,
past their playing days.
Todd White.
I'll give Whitey, he's an Ottawa guy, but again, someone who grew up basically outside of Ottawa, if you will, playing in the National Hockey League. There's a lot of ex-players who now reside in Ottawa and aren't even Mark Stone for that matter.
Laurie Boschman, he's president of our alumni. He lives in Stittsville. He's not an Ottawa guy, but makes his so it's a good. It's a good family spot. Like, and people that live here get it. Like, it's safe. It's a good town. There's lots to do. The winter sucks, but you know what? Build an outdoor rink.
Yes, and don't forget there is a Discord channel. I'll throw up the link again at the end of the show if I can, or in the chat somehow to get everybody involved. Thanks to Jack Sanderson. I believe he's Jake's long lost brother. He has helped to set this up.
Nice, Jack.
And so thanks to Jack. So we will get that all set up as well. We will see you tomorrow, 3 p.m.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to Coming In Hot. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode.